Hello! This vlog is in response to another vlog I saw, and the reason I'm responding to it is because I thought it was a really good example of the misconceptions surrounding feminism, some of the most basic misconceptions, in fact. And since I'm in university to be an educator, I thought it would be a great learning opportunity for everybody. Yay! So I consider myself a feminist. I've only been calling myself a feminist for about a year now. So I'm kind of a baby feminist, but I think I know enough to talk about it. Here's some background knowledge on me. I'm a heterosexual, cisgendered female. I like boy stuff, including comic books and guitars, and girl stuff like makeup and flowers and shit like that. The topic that interests me most in terms of feminism is how we socialize people to fit into the male-female dichotomy. First of all, I should explain there's a difference between sex and gender. Sex is what's between your legs. Gender is an identity that you portray. It's usually socially constructed. In our society, the genders are man and woman, basically. And I'm really interested in the way that people who fall out of those two categories fit into things and how they're treated too. And I'd also like to see more women in politics and more men in education. And I don't know, that's a good background. For the record, I like men, despite the fact that I'm a man-hating feminist. In fact, most of my friends, I would say, are white, heterosexual dudes, cisgendered dudes, I should say. And yet somehow I'm a feminist. I don't know how that worked out. I like guys, yet I'm a feminist. What? How? What? What happened? What happened is I was born with a brain. Just for the record. I think we can move to the meat of the issue now that I've gotten that out of the way. The words feminist and feminism are dirty words these days. People tend to associate feminism with man-hating or the exclusion of men or women taking over the world. The video that I'm responding to stresses that feminists are aiming to construct a society in which women have more rights than men, that they are more equal than men. That is not the aim of feminism at all. That is such a huge misconception that it is literally comical. That knowledge needs to be altered right now because it is starkly false and it's a little bit counterproductive. Actually, it's a lot counterproductive. The people who watch that video are going to take away false information. The idea that feminism is about bringing women up here and putting men down here. Whereas in actuality, in Western society, men are about here, women are about here, and feminists want to bring it up like that, just a little bit. In fact, progressive feminism incorporates men's rights as well as women's rights, because in some areas men lack rights. For example, men are socialized from a very early age to not succumb to their softer emotions. Men aren't supposed to cry because crying is what girls do, and that is bullshit. Everybody should cry and not be punished for it. Crying is normal, it's wonderful, and sometimes it's great. Sometimes you just gotta cry, man. You just gotta cry. Men are expected to be muscly, tall, wise, brave, chivalrous, bang lots of chicks, have lots of money, have a nice car, etc., etc., etc. And when they fail at being this thing that we expect them to be, they wind up being treated differently, as unmasculine, and therefore somehow inferior. And that's horrible. That's bullshit. Feminists hate that shit. All people hate that shit. That way of viewing gender is oppressive. Another problem that men face is that it's difficult for them to pursue female-dominated careers such as hairdressing, interior decorating, quilt making, etc., without being labeled as homosexual or as a Nancy boy or as effeminate. And that's definitely an issue that goes both ways. Women face a ton of obstacles in male-dominated careers as well. Another problem that men face is that they're less likely to gain custody rights over their children, even in cases where the mother is clearly negligent or abusive. And it's tragic. It's hard for single men and men in homosexual relationships to adopt children because of paranoia over ulterior motives and the idea that women are biologically cut out for child rearing, which is a harmful stereotype to both sexes and especially harmful to the orphaned and abandoned children in the system who could be going to wonderful, loving, male-run homes. And don't even get me started on the abuse homosexual males endure every day. Words like faggot and phrases like that's gay are commonplace everywhere, especially in schools where such remarks are often tolerated. And I know, I'm a student teacher. That kind of language and gay bullying and teachers tolerating that kind of exchange is rampant in pretty much every school ever. There's not a lot of anti-gay bullying initiatives, although there's more coming out. My point is that feminism incorporates the rights of men as well. We love men and want them to have equal rights too. The purpose of contemporary feminism is equality for all people, not disproportional rights for women. I don't really know where those ideas stem from. Ignorance. The mainstream media. Misinformation. I guess I'm coming down with a cold or something. I'm sure there are some asshole feminists who want women to dominate the world or something, but I can tell you that the vast majority of feminists just want equal rights, and that's all. But wait, don't Western women already have equal rights? Why, yes, they do, in theory. However, there are still some serious gender inequalities that have yet to be fixed. Like what, I'm sure you're wondering. For example, where are all the female politicians? Sarah Palin and Michelle Bachmann do not count. They're stupid assholes. I would think that in a world where 51% of the population is female, at least 51% of the politicians would also be female. Yeah. That's not the case. The world's basically run by men. So feminists want to see more women in politics. We also want to see more women in big business and sports, such as hockey and football. And me personally, I want to see young boys and girls being raised with many options of sports and toys and study subjects. For example, I always wanted to play hockey, but I was never allowed. But I'm almost certain that if I was born with a dick rather than a vagina, I would have been put in hockey the second I asked. I lost a valuable opportunity because I was born with a vag, and that is the kind of bullshit that I would like to work against. Some other modern women's issues. Women get paid 76 cents on every dollar that men make, despite doing the same job and having the same credentials. That's in Canada, my country. I thought Canadians were supposed to be like equal and shit. I heard that Canada was the land of sugar and sweets and happiness and magic. But I guess I was wrong. Feminism is a huge topic in terms of world issues. Women in Afghanistan and other such countries have almost no rights compared to men. Women make up more than half the world, do 70% of the world's work, and own 1% of its profits and land. Feminists are people who care about the inequities and injustices that men and women face due to their sex and gender. We don't hate men. We love men. Yay for men, and yay for their dicks, and yay for their semen, and yay for the things that they do and the conversations that we can have with them and how they're people just like us. We just don't like that men have the upper hand, and we think that women should have a strong voice and more power. We want to get back from the world what we put into it. I'm not going to sit here and say that men and women are exactly the same. That'd be stupid. We are physiologically different, for starters. Ladies have vaginas and boobies. Men have penises and man boobies. And men tend to be taller and their bodies produce more muscle with less effort than women who produce more fat. Some psychologists believe that women learn, think, emote, and behave differently than men due to different connections in the brain and chemical differentiations and shit like that. But I personally believe that such habits and methods of thinking are socially constructed for males and females. Women and men of all races, nationalities, cultures, creeds, and geography have the same capacities for work, knowledge, ingenuity, power, ownership, expression, industry, leadership, and we feminists want to see that play out. And in fact, I think most intelligent people who believe in equality want to see that happen. Feminism is about men and women, gay and straight people, young and old, all races, and it's just about equality. We want equality. We don't want one sex to be better than the other. We want equal opportunity and equal treatment. Most people believe that women should have equal rights, and that's the definition of feminism, is pursuing equal rights. I think the problem we have today is that people just don't know that they're feminists. So are you a feminist? Do you believe that women deserve equal rights? Something to think about.